Hello and welcome to another episode of how to become an Ion driver. I will be covering tips and tricks to help us, but first of all help you become a better driver. In this video I'll be teaching you how to do the perfect lap in the driver testing car to give yourself a chance at landing a driver seat in the Ion F1 League. But before we get into our video, I just want to say a massive thank you for all the support I've been getting, and if you guys are not subscribed already and want to keep up with when I post new videos, then make sure to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications, as well as like this video to support my channel and encourage me to make more videos. If this video gets 50 likes, I will upload a video of me racing against either fans or pro drivers, so smash that like button. And without further ado, let's learn how to get ourselves a driver seat. By the way guys, just a small disclaimer, having the best lap in this game, and so they moved the driver testing game to the IFR 2020 game, but having the best lap here doesn't actually guarantee you a seat. You need to have other traits like consistency and the reliability, and you also need to be a bit clever when it comes to driving and strategy and so on. So having a good lap here doesn't guarantee you a seat, but it helps you get recognized, so teams can then discuss with you further and give you a trial at a seat. Most main driver seats in the Ion F1 League are currently full, but I think having a reserve driver seat is still as good enough for a rookie driver, like someone who hasn't driven in Ion races so far. So I think just getting yourself a reserve driver seat is very good, so you can learn how Ion F1 weekends work and like you can get used to the environment. They recently updated this game, so they basically moved the, so you used to like get a free agent market lap in the previous driver testing game, but they recently moved it to the Ion Formula 2020 game, and the tune of the car is quite different. I had to spend like an hour or two just doing laps so I can get used to it and get do a good enough lap. I did a 123.9. I don't think if that's good, but I haven't seen other driver times yet, so I'm just gonna say that it's decent, because I think it was a good lap for my level, but I think other drivers can easily do like 120 or 121 maybe. So I'm gonna work on improving myself, but I'm just gonna, for now, I'm gonna teach you the basics on how you can do a quick enough lap similar to mine, so you can apply in the free agent market and maybe get yourself a seat in the Ion F1 League. So without further ado, let's get right into it. By the way guys, you might have noticed that I've been putting off Australia for quite a while, and it's mainly because this track is very brutal. I was driving here for like an hour now in this car. This car is quite hard to drive with the oversteer, and it's quite unpredictable, and on this track it's so annoying because the curves are very dangerous. So the first thing you need to keep an eye on is the curves, because some of these curves, most of these curves actually, you need to avoid and never touch. But we will get into it and I will show you. So you come off the final corner, you go on this long straight, you deploy DRS and ERS and get ready to start your lap. So the braking mark for this hairpin is about the 100-meter mark. So basically, if I'm coming too quickly, if I like got an insane exit and I deployed full ERS and got DRS, I would usually brake just before the 100-meter mark or like 5 meters after it. But if you didn't deploy ERS, or if you didn't have DRS, or you had a decentish exit from the last corner instead of a very good one, you can brake at around the 80-meter mark, maybe the 75, maybe just before it. So your range should be like 105 meters and 75 meters for this hairpin. So you just keep braking. If you see yourself braking too early for this corner, what you can do is let go of the brakes, and once you come near the end, you can just like trail brake, and that basically means keep tapping the brake while also corner in, so your car turns and you're still slowing down, and you need to touch the apex perfectly like this, so you can get a good exit. So you aim for this curb, so that hairpin curb you can actually go on, it's fine as long as you don't touch it too hard, because sometimes if you touch it too hard the rear might run away from you and you need to save the car. So you need to be careful there. The rear is gonna like challenge your car and try to go away, and you need to bring it back. Sometimes it can go like too hard and you're gonna spin. That happens to me quite often. So you go here, just go here, don't go on the curb because your car is already unstable from the hairpin. So just stay here inside the lines, don't go on the curb, so you play it safe. Sometimes I deploy ERS after this corner. You don't have to, because throughout the Australian track lap you can't deploy all of your ERS in the straights alone, so you need to find other places to utilize your ERS so you can get better times. But sometimes I deploy ERS after this corner to get a better exit, and sometimes if it makes your car go too quick it might mess up your next corner. But I usually like deploy it for 1 or 2 seconds and then get ready for this corner. So this corner is like a double 90-degree corner, and I usually brake around here, I'd say. So it's like the 70-meter mark. I just tap the brake slightly and let go of the throttle and try to touch this apex, go here, and like sometimes you need to brake a little bit more but not too often. Usually I either brake a bit more here if I'm going too quick, so this is a place where you can correct yourself. You can brake more if you're going too quick, or you can accelerate just a little bit if you think you're going too slow. And once you accelerate you try to touch this apex, and don't avoid touching it with the rear because it usually throws you off, and try to not go too deep here. Sometimes I go too deep here and hit the wall because I'm going too fast, so try to just plan it perfectly so you don't either hit the wall or maybe mess up with the curb and like crash or spin. And I recommend, if you're on this curb, try to keep the car as straight as possible, because turning on the curbs is quite dangerous. It makes your car very unstable. So once you're past that curb, you try to go to all the way to the left here and try to position your car perfectly for this corner, this hairpin, where this exit really matters after this corner, because it's quite like a medium straight, so you need to be ready to have the perfect corner, the perfect exit going out of here. So for here, so if your car is positioned here, like all the way to the left by the end of the curb, I'd say you did a good job. And then you start braking while turning like this, and you usually brake a bit more here, and then you once you're in the perfect speed to turn your car, you can accelerate and get yourself that good exit. Try to avoid steering your car too much here, because that means you will oversteer. Because when I steer too much here, my car I lose the rear and my car spins a lot. I rage a lot here while trying to do laps, so try to avoid that. Go all the way to this curb here and then push very hard. Deploy your ERS, of course. You can go on this grass here to like have the shortest line going from here. So just go on the grass, full throttle, avoid spinning the car. You're going straight, so you don't need to worry about that. Oh, something I forgot to mention. Make sure you're on Hotlap fuel mix, because when you spawn this car it's on standard fuel mix, so make sure you're on Hotlap so you can have the maximum top speed possible and get the best time possible. So when you go past that corner where you go on the grass, you just go here, try to keep the straightest line possible. And for this chicane, I really hate this chicane. So some people actually cut this chicane somehow, like there isn't very good corner cut detection here, so you can somewhat cut it, but it's too risky. So I'm gonna show you how to cut it and how to not cut it. So if you wanna keep as much speed as possible, you're not actually cutting it by too much, but it still counts as a cut, of course. So you need to brake around, so I usually brake at around the 110 meter mark or the 105 meter mark, or maybe like the 90 meter mark. So that should be your range from 110 to 90. Or you can go a bit later around here, but you need to brake heavily and it's gonna mess you up because you're coming very quick. So you just go here, you brake, and I usually go on this like bollard, I think you call it, and like it sends my car a bit higher and it makes my car quite unstable. But if usually you just try to get the straight line coming through this chicane. So if you can go like this, so you usually go like this, and this is what I mean by a cut. You usually go on here, right? So if you're coming too quick, you're gonna go on here. It doesn't count as a cut and you can keep as much speed as possible, but I recommend trying to get it perfectly so you stay on track in case they fix it, so you would know what to do. Of course, I think this guy behind me is following me. Oh, look at those guys, they're racing. Okay, yeah, you can see them racing over there. I wish I was in that race. So I'm back here to show you how to do this corner perfectly. So for this corner, I usually start braking, so you're all the way to the left, of course, and I usually start braking at the start of the curb. If I see myself going slow because I brake too much, I let go of the brakes and line up my car so I can, because at the end of this corner, it gets like super tight, so you need to brake more for it, and that means you kind of lock up your tires and you go wide, so you need to either trail brake, so basically tap the brake so you can still turn while braking, and try to avoid going over this sausage curb, because I hit this curb a lot, but if you don't go over it, you should be fine. Sometimes if you're like going too wide, like here, let's say I'm coming off that corner and I'm going, hold on, let me line up my car. Yeah, and I'm like going too wide here. Sometimes you can just slow down a bit, and when you hit that, it brings you back on track so you can finish your lap perfectly. So that sausage curb can help you. If you go over it, it's not gonna help you, it's just gonna mess up your lap and you will need to start another one. So for this chicane is quite challenging. It used to be, you can easily take it flat out with a grippy car, but with this car, it's less grippy, it's quite oversteery. And as I said, the curbs on this track are quite brutal, and for this chicane you need to take the curbs so much. So what I do here to avoid making my car unstable while taking the curbs, I try to keep my car in a straight line when I'm going over these curbs. So you see here, when I go over this curb, I try to keep my car on a straight line, and then if I need like to adjust my car, I do it while I'm on the tarmac, and I do the same for this curb as well. Just try to find the good entry into the curb so you can get a good exit, and you don't need to correct so much, so you can keep your speed, of course. And then you go here all the way to the left and go back to the right to prepare for this next corner. As you can see, there's like a green part of the track all the way to the right. That's to like give you a place to line up your car so you can go into the next corner perfectly. So you try to utilize this green part on the right side of the track, and just before it ends on the right there, you start turning in. This is quite a long corner. I don't think I can do this corner perfectly yet, because I see myself going too slow on here, because it's quite long and you get distracted a bit and you don't know what speed you should hold through it. I usually just brake there before this corner because you're going pretty quick here, and try to maintain. I usually throttle through the corner a bit, but as you can see, before the corner ends it gets a bit tighter, which is why it's quite confusing. So just try to hold the most speed possible and go all the way to this curb here. Avoid going on it because there's a long straight after it, and when you go on this curb it really messes up your car and you might lose your best speed possible. So you just go all the way to the right here, deploy DRS. I can't deploy DRS, of course, because there is a race going on. I hope they fix that for the driver testing cars, so you guys can do flying laps all the time. But yeah, deploy your DRS, deploy all the rest of your ERS, and just try to take the perfect line. So the line I'm taking right now is the one you should follow. Just go all the way here. And so for this corner, you need to brake. So you see those braking marks to the left side, the 100-meter mark or whatever. So you brake a little bit there, just so you can line up your car, because this corner is quite long. This reminds me of like the Bahrain corner where it's a downhill, because you have to go all the way here and line your car up in a straight line so you don't lock up your tires, and then brake again and come here and try to touch this apex in this way. So your car should look like this to know that you're doing a good corner here. You're touching the apex perfectly, and then you just throttle all the way and go all the way to the left here. Touch the curb a little bit, not too much, because like I said many times, of course, the curbs on this track are quite brutal. I hope they fix them soon. And when you come to this corner, you just start braking around the middle of the curb on the right here, just around the middle there, and you brake heavily and try to get your apex perfect there, because it really matters. And just throttle and stick to the left, of course. And for here you can like go all the way to the right here, and then just go straight, and then start braking in a straight manner, and then turn in the car once you stop braking and you think you're at the perfect speed to turn in and not like overshoot it. So you try to touch that apex. Avoid going on this curb too much. Like if you go on the curb, you should be like here. Your left tire should be on the green part, and the curb should be like under the middle of your car. So it's kind of like your car is stuck there, but you're going in the perfect position. So you go all the way to the left here on this green part, and then you brake. I usually brake a little bit or just let go of the throttle and try to go on this curb like that, because it really matters at getting a good exit in the next two corners. This really matters, because if you like don't go on the curb, you go here, you might like enter the pit lane by accident or crash and like understeer in the next corner. So you just try to do something like that, and then come back all the way here and try to stick to the right here. Let your car to the left, of course, and let your car go to the right. Deploy your DRS, your ERS again, and then go all the way here to the left, or maybe stick to the right. And that's a lap around Australia. Now I'm gonna let you see my hot lap around this track. I didn't record my best hot lap yet, but I'm gonna try to record a good lap on this track now. Also, something I forgot to mention, make sure you have full ERS or like 75% ERS before starting your hot lap, so you don't like run out of it at the end of the lap. So yeah, I'll let you see my hot lap now. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was my first lap after I said I was doing a hot lap. It was a 124.7. It's not like my best lap. I did a 123.9, but I think it's a good enough lap that reflects all the points I said in the video. I think you can easily do like a 123 or a 122.5 if you follow the steps I said. If there are like any changes to this driver testing car, I might make a future future videos soon. I just want to point out, guys, that the oversteer on this car is quite brutal. I forgot about it until I got in the car and was doing laps again, so stay careful of that. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like and subscribe and turn on notifications, of course. Leave a comment down below of the best time you guys did on this game, and if you want to play on with me in this game, make sure to go to the description and join my Discord server. I'm gonna be announcing some game nights on there soon, and I might stream myself playing against fans, of course. So yeah, that's it for today, and goodbye.